Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to talk about Surging Sparks. Also, I've not checked Play Limitless. I don't know if, yeah, it looks like we kind of look at tournaments, so I could see what people are playing. Oh, that's closed deck lists. Okay, yeah, looks like some people are playing some of the new decks, so I do want to take a quick look on Play Limitless, because I have not looked at this at all. So this is a Cerealage EX list, which is pretty whatever. Wait, no. Oh yeah, it plays the Drill Bear. That's why it plays a bunch of fighting energies. We got Dialga list with our Caledon EX. I'm trying to think if any of these would be like something else. Like this Dialga is not normal Dialga. This is our Caledon EX. Got a straight our Caledon EX list. We have Hydreigon EX list. We have what's in here. Also, I don't know why my visuals are like things aren't loading quite right. But anyways, I don't know exactly what the new cards are to the old decks. We have our Caledon EX with Lost Zone and Dialga V-Star. It's a Dialga V-Star Lost Zone Arcaladon. That's kind of cool. And then we have, what do we have next? We have, another Hydreigon list. We have another Cerealage EX list. We have another Arcaladon EX list. And now these are getting noticeably lower near the bottom. And then, let's see, this tournament, what's that? Yep, does play Milotic EX. This is a Cerealage EX list, and then we got Arcaladon EX. And by the way, I've not played all these lists, but I played some of these lists. Oh, we got this deck. I might make a video on this deck. I saw this. I actually played this before the set came out, obviously without Precious Trolley, but oh, and there's a new Night Stretcher. Oh, this is gonna be all over the place on Limitless, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, we have the new Ace pack. And then we see Starmie in our Caledon EX. I actually don't remember. Oh wait, no, it's here for like what, Raging Bolt or something. And then we see and there are some cool things in these decks, like Miraidon is playing the new Pikachu EX and the Latias EX as well. I forgot about Latias EX. Wait, and the new Magneton. Yep. So a bunch of new additions to that deck. We got ourselves Cloth Brute Bonnet, apparently now playing Latias EX. Nothing too crazy here. Then this next list we see is another Hydreigon EX list, and Hydreigon EX is built kind of like Charizard EX or Dragapult EX. I guess probably a little more like Dragapult EX. Though there's a lot of stuff going on in this list. We see Janine's Secret Technique, Crispin. We see the new Upper Energy. We see Gain. We see the Dusknoir, the Pidgeot EX, the Pekka EX. There's a Dark Patch. There's just so much stuff going on in this deck. It is still like a Dusknoir deck, which I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Dusknoir in the medium. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Pidgeot Control is just playing anything interesting here, or anything new, I should say. It looks like it is not at just a quick glance. And then, I don't know, I'm just kind of like skimming through things. Because as I said, I haven't looked at this before. Like, I don't think Regidrago V-Stars really. Oh no, this one does play the Alolan Executor EX, which is kind of interesting. I played against Regidrago once or twice. I played it with the Lake Trio, and I accidentally benched like the wrong Pokemon with the Lake Trio because I got confused which one was which, and then they quit. It was like very bizarre. It was like, oh no, I messed up really bad, and then they quit. So that sure is something. This Miraidon list is running. I can't believe the two like. What is it? What's the first Pokemon Hawlucha yet? What is in this list? This is kind of weird. Okay, so this is kind of fun. You got Tapu Koko EX. You got all sorts of things, but you got a bunch of stuff there. And then in terms of other, we got a Caledon EX, and then we have Cerealage EX. And I'm going to talk about those two decks predominantly. I've made videos on them. And if you haven't seen them, you can check them out after this. But the decks are pretty cool. And they will be added to Play Limitless soon, hopefully. Right now they're not. Also, I don't think Pocket. Yeah, Pocket doesn't have decks, which is kind of annoying. So hopefully they'll add that at some point. But the cards, those big two decks, I guess the big three decks, which are Cerealage EX, Caledon, that'd be farther down, Caledon EX, and also I don't like the set abbreviation SSP because I keep thinking it's Sword and Shield promos. It's obviously not Sword and Shield promos, but I keep thinking it's that. And then we have Hydreigon EX. Ultimately, I think Hydreigon EX isn't super strong. I played against it like once or twice, and it was really bad. Like I have not played it. I feel like it's not very good. Like it has two attacks here if you don't know. The first one is for Darkness Colorless. It does 200 and builds 3. Theoretically, milling 3 plus a pretty normal solid damage output could be a big threat to some decks, but also ultimately at the same time, it's not that great damage. It's not bad damage, but it's like, it's not insane. And then the milling 3 is also not that insane. You're not going to deck your opponent out. You'll apply pressure to their resources and theoretically hurt them through the milling, but not necessarily. And you're not going to consistently be able to rely on that. And so this attack is okay, but it's not like, you're comparing it to something like Charizard EX or Dragapult EX or whatever, right? You can compare it to all sorts of different attacks in Pokemon, and it has downsides, right? It's 2 energy on a stage 2 with moderate upside, so it's not it's not bad, but it's not great. And then we have Obsidian, and Obsidian for Psychic, Darkness, Metal, Colorless, it does 130, and 130 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This is a very strong attack, but it's like really good early game or attacking multiple times late game. You might be able to do this attacking multiple times late game, but it's really hard to power up, and you're certainly not doing it early game. So Hydreigon EX's Obsidian is like theoretically you could do it turn 2, I guess, but that's like really, really hard to do. And so Hydreigon EX is I don't know, it feels like it has issues with its upside for such a high cost, right? Hydreigon EX is not a bad card in my opinion, but it's not great. I think it's okay. It might be the third best like attacker from this set. I mean, ultimately there's the top 2 attackers, which are the Archaludon EX and Cheerledge EX, at least in terms of the big EXs. And they're both stage 1s as well. I've talked about this before, but if we take a look at let's take a look at Play Limitless and the decks. Oh, these are combined for some reason. The decks that are the best decks coming into this set would be, in terms of stage 1s. By the way, V-Stars are not stage 1s. I think some people aren't sure about that. It doesn't really matter in many cases, but ultimately you cannot, for example, get Richard Draco V-Star off of what's the card? The A spec Hyper Roamer. There we go. The one that's like not that good. But yeah, so you do see V stars at the top. We see 4, 5, and 6 decks are all V stars, and this isn't the perfect measure of the best decks, but it's a solid and like it's a good measure of what gets played. But the highest one is going to be Goldengo EX. None of these other decks are even playing any stage 1 EXs. And that's not true. Richard Draco V-Star might be. This one's not, though. It usually isn't, anyways. But there's pretty solid value with Northern EX. And there are some stage 1s playing these decks. We see the Cinccino. That's the main one. I mean, there are other stage 2s played in the decks that do have value, but they're to evolve into stage 2. And so you have Goldengo EX being solid. Oh, and then Bayonet. Bayonet EX is pretty solid as well. And just scrolling down the list, I don't see anything. We've seen more Bayonet EX. Wait, what's this other Bayonet? Bayonet Gardevoir is above Bayonet Dusknoir. I thought that I was playing. Anyway, and Northern EX. I said that earlier. We got Galvantula. Like Galvantula is not that good. Palafin's like underrated, I guess, but it's not that good, right? So ultimately, the Stage 1 EXs are pretty mediocre. Serial GX actually has a lot of similarities. If we look at Decklist, we do see this one in this Korean event, which is separate from the City Leagues. The City Leagues, there's a lot of results. And this card's been out for a while in Japan. It came out in September, but it's seeing a lot of play, and there are lots of different builds, including like Palkia, which is, kind of like Goldango. But Serial GX's damage output's very solid, 30, 20 more for each energy into your discard pile. And you can play the new A spec to get 5 cards from your deck into your discard to be hitting 100 more damage, which is a lot. Ultimately, I don't actually know if that's the best A spec for the deck. If you're really focused on getting energies in the discard, you're a really discard heavy deck with like playing research or Carmen every turn or something like that, and then you won't necessarily have good Gust because you'll have lots of energies and lots of supporters to just draw, but ultimately you'll struggle to get Gust consistently. So Prime Gadget could be good, of course, or Hand Disruption could be good with Unfair Stamp or something. You could even go Secret Box because you do want some added consistency when you aren't playing like 20 energies. Like this list here is playing 19. I feel like that's pretty normal. Copy the list. Oh, this list is really like, why is it playing Fan Rotom? That's Fan Rotom. It's disappearing. But why is it playing Fan Rotom? Like, it is a solid attacker, but is that it, I guess? I guess that is it. But anyways, you have Ceruledge EX here as a very solid attacker for only 1 energy. It's really cheap. And Archaludon EX is pretty similar in that same way. It is 3 energies, but you can attach from hand, then use your ability to accelerate 2 metals from your discard to your metal Pokemon in any way you want as well. You can split it up. And this is a pretty solid, this is pretty good ability. Ultimately, I think Archaludon EX is pretty good with the Dialga V-Star. Like, their synergy is quite strong, and you can play Scramble Switch as well. I'm just going to open a random list. This one does not play Scramble Switch. It plays Scoop Up Cyclone. a lot are playing Metang still as well. This one's not. This one's playing, what's the A spec? It's playing Secret Box. There are lots of different things you could do. You can put in Luxray, which to me, Luxray really surprises me because you have like 8 basics or something. You have a good chunk of basics, so you're not going to start Luxray that often. But people are playing Luxray and they're just playing a few copies of it, which is kind of interesting. This one plays less basics. They're not that, it still plays 7 basics, right? Like, anyways, so you have Archaludon EX being a pretty strong force in the meta as well. Archaludon EX isn't as, or it is newer in Japan. Um, oh, it's only a little new. Yeah, this came out in Paradise Organa, so it's not that much new in Japan. Archaludon EX is a pretty strong attacker as well, and I think these two are going to be meta relevant decks, probably top 20 decks, which I think right now the top 20, being in the top 20 is not bad, right? So if we look at the meta game right now, and I think they'll be top 10, top 10, top 15. Like right now, I feel like top 10 is I drop off the good decks um at 13 here. Dragon Bolt Duststorm is not bad. Dragon Bolt Duststorm is not bad, but I'd also group it in with Dragon Bolt Pidgeot. They're like kind of the same deck. So I'd say yeah, this is like there are 13 good, no, 12 because other doesn't count. So they're like 12 good decks. Also, it's not bad. I don't know, but I definitely think they're better than Goldango EX. Both of them. Serial Edge EX is really easy to use. Unlike Goldango EX, despite the fact you only need 1 energy for Goldango EX to attack, you need lots in your hand. Serial Edge EX, you just get going, and once you're going, and your opponent isn't really stopping you. Serial Edge EX is a pretty, I described it as like a safe attacker, simple, and you don't have lots of deck space though, because you have lots of energies. It's not like there's not a ton of room for different options. There's some room though. Like you could play Palkia, you could do some different things. So Serial Edge GX is pretty solid, but you need some other attackers that are pretty self-sufficient as well. I mean, you could put Serial Edge GX and Archaludon EX together if you really wanted to, and I don't think that'd be completely terrible. There's not really any reason to do so. But Archaludon EX, I think, is nice. It's very tanky. It's, again, a very safe attacker, very solid one, as opposed to Goldango EX, which is a very explosive attacker that can miss and can have some issues. Speaking of Goldango EX, I played against it once or twice, and I've seen some of it, and it's playing the new, or can be playing the new Togekiss, which says on a coin flip, you flip a coin if heads take an extra prize. This is ultimately the card I'm pretty scared of in the metagame, and it's been in the few games I played against it exactly what I thought. I mean, it just is what it is. We'll see what it turns into in the metagame if it's just this like niche piece in a few decks, but ultimately it is a card that is seeing a little bit of play, but not too much. And I think the last deck, I've only played 3 new decks so far. I've made a video on 2 of them. I will be making a video on the Lake Trio soon, though I just copied a list. I really did not like the list, to be honest, the one I copied. I copied it from a YouTube video, and I think Uxie is really good. Wait, the Lake Trio does. You have the Mesprit. This is the one that is like the Lake Trio card because the Lake Trio is Uxie, Mesprit, and himself, and the 3 of them often have cards that directly refer to the other ones. That say if you have all of them in play, you do something. Mesprit here says if you have the other 2 on your bench, you do 160 for 2, which is a very efficient attack, and it is Buddy Buddy Pop and searchable, and that's really, really nice. I played with this deck a good few times, and being Buddy Buddy Pop and searchable is so nice. You get your Pokemon to play so easily, and it's really a really nice feeling. But then you have the Azelf. I guess I should go to Uxie first. And this says it puts 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. And this is the best spread attack on, like, really of this type in the game. There's nothing that really competes with it. There are some on evolutions that are better, I guess. I don't know. There's like a Serum Braviary, I guess, which is better. But there's the Mismagius, which I think a lot of people are somewhat familiar with from Astral Radiance. Nope, Silver Tempest. That is apparently the wrong one. Yeah, so this one, it's literally the same attack. It does have an ability which essentially does 80 damage to your opponent's active at some point. It's not really in your control, but yeah, no, it's 80 extra damage, which is a noticeable amount. But Uxie is a basic here, right? So this is really, really solid, and Mismagius isn't a great card, but it's a niche rogue card. Uxie is better than that, and a card that I will expect to. I think the Lake Trio is a legit deck, to be honest. But Uxie, you can go ahead and place a bunch of damage counters in play, and then you have the Azelf, which says Neurokinesis. It does for 2 energies, one of which is Psychic, one of which is Colorless. The list I copied played Counter Gain, it also plays Zadu, right? So it plays Zadu. That's probably how you play these. But then it also played Counter Gain, which we'll talk about a little bit. I haven't really played with Counter Gain much, but it did not seem that good in this deck, but ultimately, you can use Counter Gain on Azelf if you want, but it does 10 more for each damage counter on all your opponent's Pokemon, and that's allowing you to take big one-shots if you put a bunch of damage counters on the board with Uxie. Let's say your opponent has 5 Pokemon in play. And that is pretty reasonable. Um, I feel like four, like they'll try to hold back, but five feels pretty solid. They have their active and four bench, and so you attack. You just did 100. You didn't do 100 to one. You did 22 each. But then you did it twice, and all of a sudden you've done 200. That's 2 turns. You've lost 2 prizes, but still you've done 200 damage, and then maybe a little bit less. But then a Zelf's going to come in and do 200 or 210 or 180 or no 170 or 190 or whatever. You're going to be hitting a good chunk of damage, and it's not like 180 isn't or 170 isn't enough to one shot a basic, but we'll say 190 for this, and then. But then they already have 40 on them, right? So you're not necessarily needing to hit the damage breakpoints of with a Zelf of what you need to be doing to one-shot them because they already have damage on them. They'll be softened up. There's really interesting. There was a deck like this that I played that was a bit of a meme deck, but was really fun. Didn't have the level of synergy as these Pokemon do, but it was a very similar concept. You'd attack with some like mediocre attacker that did something like Uxie, but as I said, Uxie is better than the attackers we saw. So I attacked with Spinda, I attacked with Reshiram, which is no longer in format, and I did have Inteleon as well to place extra damage counters on, but ultimately I don't think that's necessary, though it is nice. But you have the Uxie, you just attack, and then when you take the knockout with the Azelf, you're taking damage off the board, so your Azelf will be hitting less damage next time, so that is a little scary. Also, if they're playing like Radiant Arena, you will just lose, but whatever. So Mesprit's okay, hitting 160, but ultimately Azelf will be hitting more damage a lot of the time, and 160 isn't necessarily enough. Like, it's enough to one-shot Squawkabilly EX, right? Like, that's the only thing it's one-shotting. It is doing, like, almost one-shotting lots of other Pokemon. So you can hit into a Rotom V or a Lumineon V or really any 2 prize and then Uxie a few times and maybe Radiant Oxam or whatever and get the knockout, but you could also just get the knockout with the Zelf a lot of the times. I feel like Mesprit can be used early, but it can be used turn one, really. I can't really think of a way to use it turn one that's actually like somewhat decent. So ultimately, I think Mesprit's okay. It's not bad in the deck, but I think it should not be the focus. The list I copied played 4 Mesprits. I believe it was from, it might have been a Little Dark Fury, it might have been Trust Your Pilot. I think it was Trust Your Pilot. I don't know, but presumably they didn't make the list. I think they were getting it from somewhere else as well. But they played 4 Mesprit, 3 Azelf, and 2 Uxie. And I think I'm actually going to switch it to 4 Uxie, 3 Azelf, and 2 Mesprit. You definitely don't need 4 Mesprit, I'll say that. Even if it is your main attacker, maybe then, but you probably want more of the others as well. But Uxie is very solid. I really enjoyed the deck. You have lots of low HP Pokemon, so spread could be an issue. The list played a Rabsca, and I did not play against Dragon. Well, I played the game, and it was just like a big mess, but ultimately Rabsca's like kind of a sketchy card. Right? Playing Manaphy feels nice. Also, Jirachi will just destroy Uxie. Jirachi isn't really played very much right now. Like, I want to see how much Jirachi's played. And I don't know if there are any decks it's really played in, like, consistently. We look at these decks, and we see it in some decks, but it's not in decks all over the place. It's not, like, terrible. It's a solid card, but these tournaments are going back a little bit. So ultimately, I think you should be okay from Jirachi. Those are the 3 decks I played, and I believe the only new cards I've played with. I could be wrong. I might have played with. Oh no, I played with the Precious Trolley. I played with Scramble Switch in the Arcaladon EX deck as well. Scramble Switch is like kind of fun. It's a classic. It's a bit of a goofy card, but whatever. And then I'm trying to think of the other like really meaningful cards, and there are lots of good cards. I've talked about the set a lot before its release. I do want to play Meowstic. I plan on playing that soon. And I do want to play Koraidon as well. I think Koraidon's pretty cool. I generally have not been a massive fan of the ancient stuff, not because I think it's been bad, though I have been, I think, a little down on it compared to most people. I was definitely down. I don't think Raging Bull Ogrepon's like super good. I think it's a solid deck, but I don't think it's like one of the best decks in the game or anything like that. I think it's like, I don't think it's competing for the best deck in the game right now, or at least before this set. I don't really know what the meta is looking like with this set. I think it's not going to change too much, but we'll see. There might be something unexpected that'll happen. But Koraidon is definitely a card I want to watch out for. I haven't played against it yet. Then the last one I guess we need to talk about is going to be Pikachu EX. There's Latias EX, which is good and played within Rhydon EX decks. Magneton is also pretty good, I guess, but it's not insane. Someone, like I saw people in the comments talking about playing this within Miraidon, and it's good, right? It's not bad in Miraidon, it's good, but ultimately you are giving up a knockout, which can matter. It doesn't always matter, but it can matter, so just keep that in mind, because despite the fact that you're a deck that's all two prizers, that's not actually all two prizes, but it's mostly all two prizers. Giving up a prize could matter and could help your opponent. They could be able to capitalize on that if they're playing something like Briar, or also going after your Radiant Greninja, which you're probably playing. So just keep that in mind. But also could be nice, forcing your opponent down lower on Ionos or whatever. And Magneton definitely could be a card with insane value in the deck, if not just solid value. Though it is a pretty good card. The Pikachu EX it's a good Miraidon, right? I'm just gonna say that it's really safe. You could play the Miraidon EX, and all of a sudden you got this pseudo wall, which is kind of cool. It's not a perfect wall, but this thing was too Cassiopeia. I just opened a random list. Anyways, so it's a solid like pseudo wall, and your opponent shouldn't be really targeting it, and then it's one retreat, so it's not going to get stuck in the active. And of course, the most important thing is it triggers area 0 under depths, which is really nice. And you're not attacking with it, right? I think that's the place it should be in. Apparently, it's being played with a Lost Zone. I've not looked at these lists yet. This one, okay, one tournament. Let's take a look at these lists. Yeah, so you got like lots of energy types, unsurprisingly, because you have the 3 types of Pikachu EX, plus you have Water and Psychic because you're lost on. So that's a lot of energy types, which is kind of awkward, but that is kind of interesting. Also, the 2 Waters in Lost Zone, that's super sketchy in my opinion. I've said this repeatedly, because you need to draw just right, or like burn multiple Mirage Gates, which doesn't feel great. But anyways, and then this other first place list that was played recently is really different. Oh, it's not like really different, but it's kind of different. You got you have Terapagos EX, which is kind of cool. Anyways, so you have Lost Zone, which could be used to power it up, but ultimately, I think it's the one list that I've been seeing floating around is Reggie's Pikachu EX. I think that deck's really terrible. I know some people really love Precious Trolley, or is that what it is? I don't remember what it is. Something like that. Anyway, so yeah, Precious Trolley, and like that helps Reggie's, but it doesn't make Reggie's like super good because they're Reggies. Like they have lots of issues. They have so many issues, even with Pikachu EX fulfilling Area 0 under adapts, and then new spec allowing you to set up. It's still quite sketchy, right? So ultimately, I think there's something there, but it's a little bit of ways off. Theoretically, you could play down Lumineon V, grab yourself an Arven, grab yourselves Forest Seal Stone and Precious Trolley, then off of the Force Seal Stone, you can grab yourself Area 0 under depths, then hopefully have a Pikachu EX already in play, and then just use Precious Trolley to get all your Regis into play, and maybe Squawkabilly EX as well. You could do that, but that's like a little awkward, and also burning your V-Star power and your A-Spec, so that's a lot of stuff you're burning, and playing Pikachu V, or no, and playing Lumineon V down. Pikachu V is pretty good. You can attack back to back and get really high upside if you attack, but I think it's not really a viable attacker within Lost Zone. It actually seems solid in Lost Zone. Its typing is really awkward though. The 3 type, like Lightning is like pretty good in Lost Zone. Battle is not very good in Lost Zone, and then Grass is not really good in Lost Zone outside of Giratina V-Star. You could play some Charizard attacks or something, but whatever. That's not really that good. It's good against Charizard, but that's about it. But ultimately, I think this set's pretty good, and I'm looking forward to playing with it more. I'll definitely make some more videos on it. Obviously playing, I said I'll make a video on the Lake Trio. And tell me what decks in the comment section down below you want me to play from this set. If you want me to play Hydreigon EX, I don't know how to play Hydreigon EX. Like I could just copy a list, and they seem fine. There's a lot going on there, and that seems kind of cool. But also, it seems like it lacks the upside. Like from what I've seen and what I've played against, it's been what I've expected. But overall, the set seems like a really fun set with a bunch of new attackers that are gonna kind of add some more, just different meta decks than TCG. Because recently the meta hasn't changed too much. Trapghost has been a new card, and Dusknoir has been a new card, but they haven't really felt like they revitalized the TCG in any manner. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.